Fixed line operator Telkom says it will appeal a $55 million regulatory fine imposed for using its dominant market position to stifle potential competitors. The competition regulator slapped Telkom with a lighter than expected fine of 449 million rand over a long-standing complaint that it had blocked competition from other network service providers. Telkom will have 40 days to file the appeal. Telkom closed down around 1.4% today to 19.60 rand. For more, Dobek Pater, telco analyst at Africa Analysis. He's here in studio. Welcome, Dobek.
Good evening. Thanks.
No surprises, presumably, that they're appealing it. Why did it take so long?
Yeah, not really a surprise. But I don't think it was a foregone conclusion. I think there are a number of considerations they had to take into account. But I think in the end they were bound to appeal for a couple of reasons. One is obviously to try and maybe reverse the verdict, which I don't think is probably going to happen. Another one, maybe more important, is that if the verdict stands, it opens up a possibility of damages suits, loss in revenue by the ISPs, those who claim they've suffered, and that could go into billions of rands once they sort of start jumping on a bandwagon. So it could be a precedent, and I think Telkom's trying to avoid it as much as they can.
So the fine itself was seemingly light, or lighter than
I wouldn't say it's light.
The further consequences could be bigger. Kevin?
Dobek, has Telkom got the money to pay the fine?
Well, they do have money. They've got a war chest that's been diminishing for investment purposes, so about 3 billion rands. But it is a significant, I think would put a significant dent, because it represents probably 7-8% of investment they commit every year, capex and intended capex going forward to upgrade the network. And it also probably impact on the ability to source funding from financial institutions, third parties. That could be impacted.
And has the situation that led to the fine, from my understanding, that was literally an historical perspective. That situation has now changed, right?
Oh, it changed completely. What happened up until 2004, in fact 2006, Telkom was de facto monopolist, had the only real access network and extensive access network and national backbone, which was used by all the service providers in the country. Since then we've had a lot more operators introduced into the market, and also through a case won by LTEC versus against ICASA in 2008, every licensed entity with an infrastructure license can deploy their own network, so they're not dependent on Telkom if they don't want to.
My sense, though, is that the ruling is probably a breakthrough, but I think the fine may actually be retrogressive for the industry, because my sense is that when we look at this, which is really a technology-rich industry, is that South Africa is actually falling back behind the world. In other words, we're not actually making progress to actually get effectively broadband and the service levels associated with that. We're not really expanding it at the rate other countries are doing so, and the costs are certainly not improving to the extent that they should be in terms of what one would have a truly competitive advantage. I think so. I'm not so sure how helpful this was.
Well, as far as the retail prices and competitiveness is concerned, it's a process, and we're in that process. And what's happening now is a number of operators are building out national transmission networks, backbones, and also additional access networks, which are really now the stumbling block towards greater price competition. So we have a lot of international bandwidth sitting on our shores through submarine cables, but the bottleneck is bringing it inland to Johannesburg, to Pretoria, to Kimberley, or wherever. That's where limited competition still exists, and the likes of Neotel, the FiberCo consortium, 2 years from now the situation will look quite a bit different. But I think I agree with you that theoretically that money will be taken and maybe invested into underserviced areas to develop infrastructure there. But I think Telkom may be better off actually investing in and upgrading their network and making it available.
My sense, it will weaken the industry and strengthen the Competition Commission, but not, and that's the wrong way around. It really, the industry itself needs to be catapulted up.
Dobek, I'd like to finish by switching to a different company in the sector. We had news, Reuters saying that it's got proof of MTN working in Iran, working on how to get technology, including technology from the US into Iran. Will this have serious consequences for MTN?
The big yellow. Well, I suppose it depends really what's proven. And again, That's not what the current court case in the US is about. That's been brought into the US court, into that jurisdiction. But it could be a separate one, who knows? And it potentially could have repercussions if MTN were to be theoretically blacklisted by the US government as a company non grata and forbidden to buy US equipment. But it's a difficult situation because these networks run on mostly US manufactured equipment, manufactured by US companies. We've got competition coming from the East, from China, a lot of it. But 5 years ago, the quality wasn't there yet. It's changing now. So if you couldn't source that equipment, you couldn't run a network or be competitive, at least not more sophisticated value-added services.